What's up, everybody? Doug Lane here, Fastlane Car Care. We have a 2015 Honda Civic. Nice little car. One of my longtime customers got this for their kid. They've had it for a little while, but I want to show you guys some things. I've already did a little live video from my Facebook following here. And check out this light gap here, or not really a light gap, but rather a cut line. Man, this had to have been somebody that tried to do it themselves. I will commend them for one thing, man. The tint job is pretty clean as far as dust goes. You know, we do have a cut line here. These things are a pain, guys. These things are a pain unless you take them out of the car. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do another long format video. Some people like them, some people don't. Here's the deal. You know, we're just gonna do it. Back window, we're peeling off the edge. I don't know if you guys can see that. We're peeling off the edge pretty much all the way around. You know, we didn't shrink, clearly. We didn't know how to heat shrink this. Ooh, right there, looks like the trim is touching the glass, so that's another thing that these cars are notorious for. You know, really, the gap as far as, you know, their top edges and stuff isn't terrible. So it kind of baffles me, because I feel like this is somebody that tried to do it themselves. But then on the other hand, it's like, it's super clean as far as like no dust. So like, did they just get lucky or what? You know, same deal right here. We got our cut line and everything. And I was hoping we could salvage the strip, not have to mess with it. However, after I cleaned the glass, because I saw right away that this is peeling right here, but then I saw this great big finger up through here and thought, you know what, we're already going to do everything else, so we might as well get it done. So first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and I need to peel these 4 windows off right here. Got the AC going, guys. Sorry, I know it it's not terrible with the audio, but it kind of does some things. But let's get the steamer out. I see some questions on the Facebook and stuff about, you know, how to do window tint or remove window tint without a steamer. Man, my answer is go buy one. Seriously, this thing is $50, $50-ish from Walmart. And yeah, while we're waiting on that, let's just go ahead and take door panels off. I'm going to use, these actually have screws in them, so you know what, let's keep this, but let's use this brand new set of screwdrivers that I have. Let's see, something like, yeah, this'll work. Just go ahead and put this back. I'm just gonna use a couple new tools here. I don't know why I'm still holding that. Yeah, just go buy one of these steamers, dude. They're like 50 bucks. They're gonna save you so much time. And then, like, if you're gonna be tinting, if you're gonna be tinting them windows, if you're gonna be tinting windows, you know, you're gonna do some tint, you want to make a living out of this, you just get it, dude. You need it, even if you think you might. Come on now, there we go. You can use these for so many other things that it's kind of ridiculous, honestly. Let's grab our this one. Biggest reason I'm going to go ahead and pop the door panels off now is I'm going to have to take these door panels off to get this glass out, the quarter windows. And this is just going to save me from having to, you know, clean snot off of the windows and all that. There we go. So these, they kind of slide forward like that. Boom. This is going to be the most difficult one to remove. So this is for your power mirrors. And then this little guy here, hopefully I can, oh, okay, this is different. Most of these have a locking tab where you gotta lock a little switch, like it flips. You know, whatever, I'm gonna set that there gently. Let's go ahead and use our fancy new screwdriver. Oh, that feels way nicer in the hand than the old style, in my opinion. You would think I would use the little organizers that I have, but I haven't lost a screw yet. I'm going to tell you right now, though, the impact is about 15 times faster, so we may switch. I don't know. I'm not used to all this manual labor. So we're just going to reach down here. Looks like we got a casualty. Where'd it go? Oh, it's still intact. Yeah, she's still intact. So go ahead, you know what, I'm gonna turn this off. I got the air conditioner running and this thing getting hot. We might as well just leave it for a second. We'll break down all the door panels and then we'll use the steamer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just using my knee to push up. Just kind of jiggle this little guy around a little bit. Everything should be disconnected. There we go. So, oh, our lock rod our door handle wants to come with us. I was gonna say, the reason I wanted to go ahead and grab that tab is just so I could go ahead and put it in here, so I don't lose it. Nothing's broken, everything's good to go. And I like to set my door panels in here like this. These go right back there. Side note, you cannot roll the windows down on these cars if you don't have your switches plugged in, so just be wary of that. And what I want to do is why I wanted to use this is for these little guys. You know, I don't know, time's money. I may just go back to the impact, but we'll play with it, you know what I mean? We'll see. Leave that there. These are just really simple cars to do. I believe that with that tool, I could get these window channel arm things off with the window channel arms. I think I could get the window channel bolts out without having to take the door panel completely off, but in this case, it doesn't really matter because I'm removing old tint anyway, so I just feel like it's just gonna be a lot easier and it's gonna get us a cleaner result because we're not gonna have all that tint glue stuck in these seals and all that stuff. It's gonna be easier to clean. Same deal, it's got a little tab on it, so you gotta pull it forward. These back doors, super easy. A little switch just pops right out. Save him for later. We'll set that down here for right now. Need a screwdriver. Oh, look at a little Cornwell guy. Cute. I tell you what, man, way more energy today than I had yesterday, which is weird because I really didn't sleep any better. I didn't get out of bed on time. It's been, I don't know, man. My kid's just not wanting to sleep, man. She's waking up. She went to bed late last night, which kind of figured would happen because she took a nap kind of late in the day. Really late in the day, but man, it was rough. Having kids is rough, guys. I'm sure most of you already know that. Dadgum stink bug. He dead. Dropped out of the door panel. You can use a tool for this. I find with these Hondas, you just don't need to. Almost never. So again, our handle wants to come with us, which is kind of unusual, man. Most of the time these just stick to the door or kind of flop around somewhere in between. Go ahead, put that there. Might ask why I put the doors or the door panels in the car. Dude, mainly it's just so they don't get dirty. I don't want to set them on my floor and get them dirty, or have something weird happen to them, get knocked over and get scratched up or whatever. It's just, in my opinion, better. I had a car that I had to get some, it was a recall done, and I was kind of sitting there at the window watching, because, not that I don't trust them, you know what I mean? I'm not, the waiting room that they had was super boring. They had no TV, they didn't have really any magazines or anything, so it's like, you didn't have anything to do, and there was nobody there to talk to. It was like first thing in the morning, so I'm just standing at their big bay window watching them, and the guy takes my door panels off, and he sets them on the dirty shop floor. Okay, yeah, alright, whatever. Well, you know, figuring that he's gonna wipe them off or something like that. No. The whole bottom of my door panel was dirty. And this car was like brand new, dude. It had like 2,000 or 3,000 miles on it at this point by the time I'd gotten my recall notice. And, you know, I wasn't super happy about that. I mean, he could have just... And my car, you know, was super clean like this. There was nothing in it. It's not like he couldn't have just put the door panels in the back. In the front, like I'm doing here. You know, it's kind of irritating, but... Then one of my mechanic buddies told me, never make an appointment on Mondays, especially not first thing, and Fridays. Don't do Fridays. Any other day of the week, you're golden. That's what he told me. So apparently, you know, maybe you guys in the industry, the mechanic industry, can shed some light. Gosh, man, I'm not used to having to like manually turn a screwdriver. This is rough. Sometimes you just gotta go back to doing it old school. There we go. Another stink bug. There's like a whole freaking stink bug nest in this door panel or something, man. They're dropping out everywhere. Well, there's just these little tabs that hold these on. I don't know if you guys can see. Probably not. Maybe through the glass? I don't know. Probably not. There. Make sure all your tabs are on there. These just have these little tabs that pop on there. Like I said, most of the time they just pop off. And then I just like to stick them back there so they're not flopping around. This stuff is obviously seen better days. It's gonna continue to peel off of there and all that, but is what it is. On to the next. I like using a plastic pry tool for doing these like switch panels and stuff, just because you are less likely to mar up the finish. You certainly can still do it. You can still scratch it, but it's a lot more difficult than if you use a metal tool. Sometimes just little clips can be stubborn. You can use little parts organizers and stuff like that to save these little screws. Generally, not really necessary. When you have a nice clean car like this, especially with rubber floor mats, it's pretty simple. I'm digging the new Cornwall screwdrivers. I guess they're not like super new, but they're new to me. They came out like right after I bought my other set, which was disappointing. And then, I mean, it's not really his fault, but my dealer didn't want to give me very much at all for trade-in on that set, even though they're like essentially brand new. I hardly ever use them. So I was like, well, really no, see how that one just stayed in place? I was like, well, there's really no point in me trading them in if I'm not gonna get anything out of them. So I just stuck with them. And then for a long time, he didn't have the green handles, and I'm a green guy. I like the green. If it's green, it's for me, is what I always say. You're right. So now what we need to do is plug these switches in. I'm just gonna go ahead and plug the power mirrors in too. Why not? And then what do we got here? Mainly for this guy here, you want to just rig me up some zip ties. Boom. All this is gonna do for me is keep this, if I have to shut the door, it's gonna keep it from smacking anything, getting pinched up. So like I said, we have to have our window switches plugged in to be able to operate our windows. I should have done that right after the fact, but I'm a little bit out of my routine because I admittedly don't do a whole lot of removals. I charge by the hour, and people just, a lot of people just don't like that. They don't like not knowing how long it's gonna take, how much it's gonna be, that sort of thing. And I get it, man, I understand, but at the same time, I'm not gonna do it for free. It's difficult. A lot of times, it is what it is. A lot of times, it takes, several hours. Sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, but, in a deal like this, I don't expect to have too long in it, but you just never know. So now we can get that out of the way. Go ahead, turn that on. I might as well grab a plastic scraper just because. Really? Okay. I just want to cover up the switches a little bit. Ugh. I don't know how long or how far along we'll get with this because I only have 2 batteries for the GoPro and they get hot. Is that a hair or a scratch? I think that's a scratch. They get hot, the GoPro gets hot, and it doesn't work very well. They'll end up dying real quick. I want to make sure I can get some heat up in that corner, some heat and steam. I know the film doesn't go all the way across through there, but it doesn't go like very far, but still. Let this get nice and warm. Try not to burn myself. Oh yeah, she's gonna come off of there. One thing I love about the steam is it gets the film hot, but it also keeps it wet so it's not so brittle. And then the hot water runs down and heats up below where you're gonna pull, and it just seems to work out really, really smoothly, especially in comparison to the heat gun. Just really direct heat. And if you have the door panels on, you can definitely melt your door panels, burn them. Or you get this area down here really hot and you pull your film out and it bunches up that vinyl or whatever. It sucks. So the reason why I'm going to go ahead and do these, even though I want to tint these first, once I roll this window down, I can't roll it back up until these are done. So I might as well just go ahead and peel this film off, roll my window up, make sure I don't have really any, residue, adhesive, and all that. And then go ahead, once I get all those peeled, then I can go ahead and disassemble all the doors and take these glasses out, these quarter windows, whatever you want to call them. Man, that smells bad. Good old Honda's 2 clicks. So go ahead, roll that up. We could shut it off, but I don't think I'm going to. You see right here where they finished it, man, they were just below the seal, just barely below the seal. That's okay. I hope that whoever did this themselves, I hope they learned something, you know what I mean? Even if they only learned that, hey, they don't want to do this anymore. I hope they learned from it. And if they tried it again, I hope their next car turned out better. Boom, look at that. That's what you want, man. Just spotless, just super clean. I mean, I'm gonna scrub it anyway and stuff, but really don't need to. Some people ask me, if I get upset when people try to do their own windows and stuff, and honestly I don't. It doesn't bother me in the slightest when people do their own windows. I actually like it, and I tell people, I'm like, no, I actually think it's a good thing. And they're like, why? Aren't you worried that they'll put you out of business or they'll be competition? And I'm like, no, man, not really. This is a really difficult thing to learn how to do. It's reasonably easy to learn how to do one car. If you're just doing your own car, you can practice and practice and practice until you get it as perfect as you want. But when you're out doing customer cars, you're dealing with a bunch of different types of cars, different types of windows, different types of glass. In some cases, if you're going to make a living out of it, you're going to have to deal with carbon film, ceramic film, dyed film. There's just so much to learn, so much to know, and it's not as easy as a lot of people make it out on YouTube. Like I said, if you want to do one car, yeah, it's not really that bad. But if you want to make a living out of it, you're gonna have to work a lot of hours, practice a lot of hours in order to get good. And even if, let's just say my neighbor started tinting windows, they're starting from zero. They're starting from nothing. They're starting from no business, no experience, no clientele, and they've got to work and build that. I've got 5.5 years experience head start. I've got 5.5 years of customer service experience, of clients that recommend me, that keep coming back. It's not, I don't want to say I don't believe in competition, I guess, is what I'm getting at. There are going to be people that hire that person, whatever new tinter it is, just because it's that person. But there's going to be other people that are, you know, they're going to stick with me no matter what. And, you know, if you drive down the road and look at how many cars aren't tinted versus how many are, like, you know, it's all about getting those customers, those new customers, and keeping them. There's enough for everybody in this business. For sure. Looks like we got just a little bit of glue right there. That isn't going to be anything major. I gotta watch this cord. It's kind of a piece of junk. So, I know, like I was mentioning that I bill by the hour, but on this car it's going to be kind of difficult to really track my hours because we're going to hop around a little bit. We're peeling these windows, but then we got to take these windows apart and peel them, and then once I get all them done, once I get all these done, heat it up and back in the car, then I'm going to peel the back window. Probably, I don't know, I might just go ahead and tint the roll-ups first, then peel the back window, then we're going to deal with the strip lastly, just because, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to think about the most efficient way to do it to where I'm not going to have to do things over. I may just go ahead and peel these, peel the back, peel the strip after I tint these, and so that way I'll be done with the steamer. To start engine, brake and push. See what I'm saying, man? You guys messing with the heat guns. Trust me, I was there. I did it for 4.5 years before I got a steamer. And man, once you get a steamer, like I said, even though this is just some cheap $50 steamer, dude, it just makes life so much easier. So much easier. We need a little more steam in there. No big deal, no big deal. Oh my goodness. Let's see, we got, oh, pop. All right, had a phone call, had to talk to a customer about getting a little F-Series truck done. You know. Guy's pretty nice though. A lot of people when they're calling for a quote are just kind of rude. Oh, we got a little light gap there. It happens. But pretty nice guy, so hopefully it was ordered, so you know they're waiting on it to come in, so they're just trying to get an idea of the price. So hopefully when it comes in they'll give me a call and we can get her scheduled, because a lot of people don't like doing windshield strips on the F-Series trucks, but I could not care less. I got the tools to take them off. The rear view mirrors. That's what everybody gets upset about. I've never broken F-Series. I have broke Explorers. But it is what it is, man. You're in this business long enough, you're gonna break something. I don't care who you are. Worst part about today is it's trash day. My big trash cans are at the curb. Alright, I'm gonna shut the GoPro off for a minute. Get some stuff situated, grab a drink. We're gonna get ready to pull these quarter windows out. I've covered this before, but you know what? We'll do it again. So hang on, hang tight. All right, so we're back. Let me get these windows rolled down. And then we're gonna get these quarter windows out. Now you might be asking yourself, Doug, man, oh, check out the pink lights. Check out the pink lights. You might be asking yourself, man, why don't you just, you know, do all the steaming and removal first, and then, you know, then worry about getting these little quarter windows done? Well, I'll tell you exactly why. Because I want to get these peeled, retinted, and let them sit and cure for a little while. I can heat them up with a heat gun like I normally do, but if I can just let them sit naturally and heat up, I just feel like it's gonna be, you know, less issues. Dude. Whoa. This thing, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's pretty slick. A lot of times you can take this all apart without, you can get this to slide over far enough without removing this all the way. I'm just gonna pull the whole thing out. It's gonna give you just a little bit more room. Let's see. I can't remember if these are Phillips. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was pretty sure everything on these was Phillips. You would think, for having done like half a dozen of these and done them the same way, that I would remember exactly what tools I needed. However, I am but a human, so go ahead and peel this out a little bit. I like to just take a plastic tool, create yourself a little bit of space. You just want to get behind that trim or that weather strip. Just kind of pull it out. Ain't no big deal. There we go. Peel it down like that. I don't know if you guys can see right there. Just make sure you're not trying to twist that all up. Now, let's see if we can go on this side, maybe. We're just gonna pull this straight back. Pull this rod out of the way. No, we didn't need to go all the way out, but one thing you want to check on these is this seal right here. Sometimes they're like already flapping around, but I like to always check and just make sure, so that way, you know, I've got video evidence or pictures or whatever if the customer tries to say I ruined that seal. Because I have seen them, you know, dry rotted and messed up, like just from old age. But so get this window slid back a little bit, pop it out, bingo bango, baby. It's just a matter of pulling this little seal off, flip it over. I like to keep them separated. I like to keep my passenger side, driver side. Look at how much glass they didn't tint. See, this is why I like peeling these off, because I can do this entire window. Even if my cut's not super pretty on the very edge, it's going to get covered up, and I don't have to worry about trying to tuck it in these seals or anything like that. So now we're going to do the same thing with this back window. Now for these, you have one bolt right here, so you got two choices. You can take this little plug out and deal with the messy, I can't remember what they call that, but seam tape or whatever, glue, whatever it is. But you can kind of gently peel this back. You're gonna need a 10 millimeter. You're gonna need a socket. Let's use our new Icon Deeps. Yeah, you're probably wondering why in the world I have Icon tools. Man, they had them for like 34 bucks. You know, what are you gonna do? 34 bucks for a 1/4 inch chrome set. I wanted to try them out, see if they're up to the hype everybody's talking about them on the YouTube there for a little while. Personally, just first experience, I don't think they're that good. What I mean by that is, you know, a lot of people are comparing them to Snap-on. And I don't own any Snap-on tools, but like this knurling, it just, even the stamping just seems real cheap. Like they tried, but it's like wish.com Snap-on. That's what I'm gonna call it. So, I mean, a lot of times I'll just make a little slit right there. It's not gonna make a difference, but I mean, this stuff just gets on everything, everywhere. Your tools, kind of a pain to clean, but is what it is. So there's our little screw for the top. Now we're going to do the same thing we did over here, create ourselves a little bit of space. Same deal right here. When you pull this out, you want to make sure that you don't mess up this one. Try to get you a decent angle up here. Pull that out, and you don't want to like pull the whole channel out if you don't have to, especially on the back. You don't need a whole lot of space, so you can just kind of grab a hold of that and just kind of gently do your thing. Yeah, that's only got, should only be one. I'm saying, yeah. One thing you want to try to do is not pull this out any further than you have to, because if you do, yeah, it's still on the window. I don't know if you guys can see. Let me get a little light in there. You want to keep that glass in that channel if you can. On the front, I definitely pulled it out. It's not going to be a huge deal. But on these, man, the seal's huge, like kind of crazy. You could shoot a little glass cleaner in here if you wanted to. But just want to get it wiggling a little bit, get your channel popped out there, and look at all that dirt and dust, all that junk that's down in there that's not going to come out or come off like in any kind of car washes or anything. So same thing we just did on the other side. We just want to create enough space to pop it out, pull it straight up. Gross. Make sure you don't drop these, because that would be bad. And again, look at this. Look at all this stuff that didn't get tinted. One thing I am going to do is just go ahead and soak these. We could go ahead and we can go ahead and peel these right now, and I think that's what we'll do. We'll clean them up a little bit and then we'll peel them. Main reason being, I want to do the driver's side and then the passenger side just to keep them even, keep them separated and stuff. You don't want to go try accidentally put the wrong side glass in the wrong spot. That would not be good. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and just wipe that off. I keep 2 towels laying down here like so. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory why. I want to protect the paint. I also want to absorb any extra moisture, glass cleaner, stuff like that. Shake this keg up. We'll need a couple things here. Grab our steamer. The only bad thing about this garment steamer from Walmart is the cord is pretty short, so you know, keep that in mind. Sometimes you have to put it on a chair or a stool or something. So the cool thing about steaming something while it's flat like this is, ouch. The water's just gonna sit there and keep it warm. Didn't get a whole lot of steam up here. Ended up didn't matter. Turn that off for a few. We'll use some 35% Orbit. They wanted to just match what was on there. I feel like that's going to be the closest match. Now, before you go spraying this with cold water, you might want to let it cool for a minute. You can crack the glass. I've never had that happen with this, but I also, you know, give it a minute or two. You know, I don't just go, like, that stuff's like stained on there, man. I don't just go crazy with the water. So, I want to verify here real quick which side our thing is on. Release liner. So I cut these face down. Scared you guys, didn't I? You thought that was going to be the glass cracking, but just where I filled up my keg this morning, and it was like empty. I got lucky. I was able to finish what I was working on yesterday. Crazy thing is, it didn't cough or sputter or anything until this morning, but it is what it is. So here we go. These are not going to be super pretty cuts. They don't need to be. You could sit here and you know, let them dry, shave your film, like shave your edges and stuff. No one's ever gonna see it unless this window gets taken out of the car. If this window is getting taken out of the car for some reason, probably bigger and more important problems to worry about than how pretty your cuts look. So for whatever reason, I always find that it's way harder to cut the back side of the film than it is to cut the release liner. Like annoyingly difficult sometimes. But again, doesn't need to be super pretty. The only spot you really want to worry about is right here and up here. These are the spots where the seals are the thinnest. And so, yeah, you want to get it pretty close there, but if you've been tinting for any amount of time, you should have no problem with that. Film tried to slide on me there. So, come up here, try to get you guys a view around that corner. Watch doing this because you can definitely slice your finger clean off. Not off, but you'll stab yourself and it's not fun. So you guys might be thinking like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. But I don't know if you can see. So get that slid back. You can see the dirt line. I don't know if you can see it on the GoPro, but you can see the dirt line where the seal used to be. It's not going to be an issue. Super not pretty, but also did not spend very much time on it at all. I do want to clean this up a little bit. The most important thing is if your film is hanging off the edge and you go to put your seal back on there, it's going to peel. And then you're going to get dust and dirt and BS in there, and it sucks. So I'd rather cut it a little bit further away from the seal than what would normally be ideal, just to be able to get it, looking right. Not have to worry about snagging the edge when I put the seal on, because you can actually put these together while they're a little bit damp, as long as your film's not touching the edge of the glass. I feel like I'm just ranting and rambling at this point. Okay. About to be like, dude, don't tell me I did it wrong. It's always a trade-off between I'm going to put it right here and I'm going to shave that edge. Always a trade-off between how much slip solution to use, because you don't want it super slippery to where it's going to try to move around on you every time you touch it. But you also need it to slide a little bit. You don't want it to tack instantly. Come on, dude. Making me look like an amateur here. I don't know if you saw I was trying to tack up right here, so I just went ahead and pulled some moisture from this part, sent it up there. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my Fusion Turbo. I'm gonna hard tool it right here, push everything out the edges. This one's done. We're gonna have to shave this little edge right here. We're gonna wait for it to dry a little bit. We'll go ahead and just sit it right here in this seal for now. Just let it dry. You know what? I think we're just gonna sit it right here. I don't like the way that's kind of wanting to fall off of there, I guess. Rinse and repeat over here. These don't need they don't need shrink, so you don't have to worry about lining up your factory edges or any of that stuff. Go ahead and stick my film a little bit. Now, if you'll remember, our seal stopped somewhere around in here, so we got all this extra film to work with. Now what I want to do, trim this junk off here. Use that for our next window. What you can do, if you got scraps laying around, you could use scrap pieces for this. You can use offcuts off your back windows or your front windows, whichever. Doesn't really matter. Go ahead and bring this back here for now. You know, again, not super pretty, but it's gonna work just fine. So, prop this bad boy up. I like to prop it up like this so that the dust or anything that's in the slip solution is gonna run downhill. Just comes out a little bit cleaner that way versus laying it completely flat. So I think that's gonna work pretty good. Set this right here. Now, one thing you could do if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to get these in right now, you could torch them. You could torch the front side of this glass, heat it up real nice, and go ahead and send it that way. Or you could use a heat gun, heat up both sides, let them cool, then go ahead and put your seals in, or put them in your seals. That's it. That's all I need to do. I just need to trim off the edge. Now we are ready to start breaking down our passenger side doors. So, I'm sure there's going to be one person that's asking what I'm drinking or wondering. It is Optimum Nutrition's BCAAs. They have caffeine in them. I try not to drink pop. Soda, some of you guys might call it. But I gotta have some caffeine. I'm not a coffee drinker at all. I do not like coffee. Never have. I love the smell of it, oddly enough. Don't like the taste. So, it's funny, I got a buddy that, when he first started drinking coffee, man, he basically just drank cream and sugar with, like, a little tiny bit of coffee. So, that was always funny. I'm like, man, if it's that bad, but then, you know, like anything else you drink, you just get used to it, I suppose, so. At this point, am I even recording? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be like beep 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 any second now. Auto timeout. This may seem like a lot of work, but honestly, if I wasn't sitting here trying to explain this stuff to you, I could have these out and done, tinted in about 10 minutes per side, which is, you know, pretty good. Then you got a little bit of time to put them back together, which sometimes that goes a little bit slower than removal, but after you've done a couple of these cars, they're just easy. You can just pull them out, no big deal. Big thing's just getting that top corner out. Now we got that. Boom. Instead of using glass cleaner this time, we're just gonna soak her with a little bit of slip. Let's see what we got going on here. Stocks. Stocks are doing okay. Wonderful. So, I don't know. I kind of wish this thing was a non-locking flex, but it is a pretty sweet tool. I will give it that. Cool thing about it is it's got an anvil. So this side's 3/8 and then this side's 1/4 inch, but you can take this out and use it as a bit driver. And like I said, it's flex head, so it's really like 4 tools in one. It's pretty sweet. So it's about 10:35 right now. We started this at what was it, around I want to say like 9:30 or something like that. By the time we actually got started. Let's see, this one's been messed with before. All right, so we just left off like perfect timing. We want to check and make sure this seal is intact. It is perfect. And now we can go ahead, get this little guy here taken care of. Group chat is popping. This morning. Okay. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but we still got the window in the channel. Let's see. Because I was a little more gentle than the other side. So yeah, we're just gonna pivot it right there. We're gonna slide this back, go around this side so you can see probably a little bit better. I like to just grab a hold of both sides, just kind of work it. There we go. Once you get them like kind of loose that seal, they just pull right out, man. It's super easy. So I don't understand why more people don't take the time to pull these instead of fighting with them and end up with less than desirable results, in my opinion. But to each their own, I suppose. All right. So, what do I do with my towel? Not bad for not being glass cleaner. Right? Right? Am I right? Man, I mainly do this just beforehand just because I don't want to get all dirty. Pretty simple. I mean, you're still going to get dirty doing this, taking the glass out of the seals, but I like to just minimize it. So in my experience, you know, just kind of loosen these up, take your top edge off, kind of peel it back, don't drop the glass. Bada bing, bada boom. Right, so here you can see we got anything below this line of dirt is tucked. Anything past this line of dirt, it's tucked. You're not going to see it. So that's why I don't get super. I mean, look how. I mean, they're kind of consistent, but not a very good install. And that's just, like I said, man, it's tough to do that when you're not pulling the seals because they're so tight. You don't have a whole lot of room. They don't have a lot of give. So it just kind of is what it is. Clean these up real nice. It's looking like I'm on my second battery. I can't charge my first battery because it's too hot. It won't charge. It's looking like we may just have enough time to get these reinstalled, and we might be done with the GoPro beyond that. I don't know. I guess depends on how fast this goes. Just waiting. There we go. Now we're getting a little steam. Oh no, I may do the install. Install these, get them back in their seals, get the windows rolled up, shut the GoPro off, peel the strip, and then I don't know, because I think I want to record the back glass. I don't know. I think that would be interesting to see. Ouch, it's hot. Do. I mean, I could skip the roll-ups, right? Because everybody's seen that about 5,000 times, how to do roll-ups. I don't know. Especially since we got the windows, or the door panels broke down. Really, it ain't nothing to these, because we can kind of bottom load, or I mean, we can bottom load. We can do kind of like a hybrid 2-stage where, you know, you basically tuck your film in the, you know, instead of having to bump your window up to tuck your film underneath the seal, you're just gonna leave it where it is. You know, I don't know. And then bump it up just to do your final hard tool at the very, very bottom. You know, I don't know. Taking off the rearview mirror on these is nothing. It's just a little spring clip. Surprisingly though, I did a video on, because my fiance used to have one of these Civics a couple years ago, and I did a video on how to remove it, the mirror, and it was, at the time, one of my best videos, like as far as views and stuff went. It's kind of crazy. Didn't really make sense to me, because it's like, I don't know. Whoops. So same deal. Let's not spray this down with cold water yet. That's not cold, but it's not warm. Won't want to crack the glass or anything. So, you know what? Since you already watched me do these two, this is gonna be the exact same thing. Let's take a little pause. Put the GoPro in the fridge so it cools down, and you know, that way we can film when we start putting this all together. So I'll be back. All right, we're gonna go ahead and throw these passenger side windows in. I already got the driver's side in. I had to do a little bit of dad duty, double duty. As we can see, you know, I mean, it's kind of dusty because there's junk all over this glass, even though we cleaned it, like brake dust, oxidation, stuff like that. All that's all good to go. The same deal back here. All of our cuts are hidden. We got 2 little specks of dust, 3 little specks of dust. Totally acceptable, especially given the circumstances. So I'm gonna show you how to do these. Man, this is gonna make your life way easier. You don't have to do this, but I'm gonna recommend it. Take a little glass cleaner and just mist the seals, man. That's it. Just the edges. This one, your rear door is gonna be the most pain in the butt out of all of them. So you're gonna drop that down in there. Just gotta find the sweet spot of where it goes. Up, right there. You see that? We push it in. And this little tab right here has got to go up in there. Now this here has to go up under this trim piece. That's why it's a pain, because it's not gonna want to go, and you got to kind of make it go. See, like if you look, you're thinking, all right, good, except for our hole is not going to line up here. Or you can see the rubber seal is blocking it. So now you're just gonna push, and if you feel confident enough, you can take your pick and take the corner part, not the pokey part, and just kind of work that seal in there, that rubber. All I'm doing is just pushing it behind that. You hear it pop. Now watch this. Boop. shove it pretty much as far as you can. Now before you get too carried away, where's my flashlight? Hopefully you guys can see. You want to make sure your window is back in the channel. It's still in this window channel. I don't know if you guys can even see it. If it's not, you need to figure out what you need to do to put it back in. Alright, so now we need to take this bar and we need to line up our top hole. Look at that, it's perfect right there, it's dead on. Go ahead and take our screw. This is why I love magnetic screwdrivers, good screwdrivers. Now a lot of times you're gonna have to kind of do two things at once here. Hold that back, push this forward a little bit, get this started, and I like to just get it to where it's not even quite snug, it's just in there. Because we're gonna need a little bit of movement most of the time for lining this up. So boom, we got that. Now what I'm gonna do, take this, tighten it up, and I will snug this all the way up. Pretty snug. Come back up here. You see how that shoved everything up once it's where it needed to be. Tighten that up. Now we can go ahead, put our weather stripping back in, and you could squirt a little window cleaner on it too if you wanted to get it back in there easier. Generally I don't have any issues with this. The only thing you gotta watch out for is you gotta make sure this is up in there correctly, and this. Perfect. Another thing I am gonna do, because we're right here, so I'm gonna take a little bit of glass cleaner, squirt it down in the seal. I'm gonna show you why. Whoops. Take a tri-edge, and I'm gonna kind of put a cross angle on it so it puts pressure on both the front and the back. But look at that, that's filthy. Gonna be mighty hard to get a good clean tint job with a seal like that. I don't know if you could see in the video, like when we had the seal basically inside out, but it's looking pretty nasty. So run it through there a couple times till it's pretty much clean, or you can be super picky about it and do it until it is clean. Whichever. And don't worry about your fingerprints and all that stuff, because you're gonna have to clean it again anyway once you're done doing your roll-ups. But we're gonna do the same deal. That is not a mist. It doesn't take a whole lot. Same deal here. Drop it down in here. Push this back a little bit if you have to. Get that to just pop in. See this little wing right there? Get that straightened out. Boom. Right? It's pretty much in there. Like swimwear, as they say. Take our light, double check that our window is still in the channel. Take our channel now, we can just pull it up. Sometimes you gotta wiggle it a little bit and kind of finesse it. I don't know if you can see, so that screw gets lined up. Same deal, man. I'm just gonna get it where it's, you know, it's set, it's not quite snug. Then we're gonna look right here. This bar needs to come towards us a little bit. And that's why I don't tighten that all the way down, because I'm gonna still use a little bit of movement here. Use this old girl here. Oh, not gonna be enough. Oh. Get out here, window seal. That's slow. I don't know about this little guy. It is pretty sweet, but I'm not gonna say it's the best. So now we gotta check this right here. Most of the time when you do this, this bar is gonna be too far back. So I just like to fish in there with my pick, figure out where the hole is. You know, if you need to. I don't know if you guys will even be able to see it, but grab our light, figure it out. Sometimes it's too far forward. Yep, that was the case this time, so I'm gonna hold it like right here. And we'll see what we need to do. Sometimes we need to get a hold of this and kind of twist it around a little bit. I don't know if you can see it, but all we're looking to do now is just get that started. And we're going to use our socket and ratchet. I don't know if you can tell where the little painted mark is, where the bolt used to be, but we're pretty much dead on with that. So I'm just going to snug it up. Okay, now we can snug up this one. Okay, now we can snug up our top screw. Don't over tighten those, man, just get them snug. I don't know if you can see this, but you can see how there's like two different lips right here. These are pretty simple to do. Just push that back in, and then what you want to also do is double check. See, because this back side here is not pushed in. Just work it in. I mean, it's not super difficult to do most of the time. You just kind of get it started there and start pushing on it, and it'll go right back in its home. Just want to make sure it's nice and smooth on there. Same deal as before. You can take this and just give it a little spritz. Cool thing about glass cleaner is it's pretty slippery, but then it also like evaporates pretty quickly. So my uncle's a body shop guy. He was telling me that a lot of times he can take these moldings out or put them in without even taking the glass out. You just spray them down and just slide them right in. So same deal as before. Get us a couple squirts. Take our microfiber. Try to get that junk out of there. That's going to help us get a cleaner tint job without a doubt. Don't worry if this isn't like 1000% perfect. A lot of times these aren't even consistent from the factory. So as long as they're in there, like, you know, they should be. Like, you don't want to leave this behind. You want to kind of work this in here like so. It's popped in there pretty good. But then after you roll the windows up and down a couple times, it's going to kind of go back to where it was. So, you know, not a big deal. Right. So pretty much, again, I don't worry about cleaning the inside or the outside of the glass right now because I need to go ahead and get these roll-ups tinted. However, I think, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the windshield first, guys, or are we gonna do the mirror? Well, I think it makes the most sense to do the roll-up windows right now since we got the door panels occupying our seat. We don't really want to have to do that twice. Move them, and then move them back. So grab our switch panel here. Whenever doing this, I like to do it one at a time. Make sure it's gonna go up. Yep. Now why are we not going down? Is our battery dead? So that window's going. All right. What's it blinking about? Oh yeah, its battery's dead for sure. Well, not all the way dead, but almost. It's having a heart attack. Have no fear. These Hondas always do weird stuff when their battery's dead or almost dead. I guarantee you it wouldn't start right now. Well. Yep. So, this little guy, looks like they tried to put some battery protective stuff on there at some point. But this little guy's my favorite, man. My dad got this for me for Christmas one year, years ago. 10.7 volts, yeah, she's dead. She's dead. I'm surprised the windows even went up at all, to be completely honest. Go ahead. So the cool thing about this battery booster is it basically acts as a second battery. So we can leave that on there all day, it doesn't matter. It'll basically just act as an extended battery. We don't have to jump start it. Like some of them, they'll give you so much voltage and then turn on or turn off. Like it'll time out and you gotta wait. This one doesn't do that. It will give you full power until its battery runs dead. So pretty slick. It also is an air compressor and it's got AC ports, regular 110 outlets and stuff. So it's really handy tool. It's especially useful when you're working on older stuff like this with questionable batteries. I mean, we didn't even leave the car on while we did any of this stuff. I'm guessing the dome lights and the pink neon lights underneath the floorboards probably don't help either, but since we're here, might as well shove all that back down, make sure that's all good. Yep. Where'd my little rubber plug go? Can't see because it's dark and it's black. Put that little guy in there. Make sure. Yep, we didn't do this one. Man, it's almost noon. I wanted to be done with this car by now. I know it's pretty unrealistic to achieve. I mean, I could have done it, but anytime you're filming, dude, it takes up a lot more time. All right. Bless me. Put this little rubber seal back in there. Yeah, that works just fine. Oh, wrong one. Okay. For time being, we're gonna leave that turned off, and I'm gonna show you guys a little trick. Make sure that's not gonna get smashed in the door. Make sure this one isn't gonna get smashed in the door either. And we need to take this, put ourselves a new blade in it, because it's pretty well chewed up. Excuse me. These are blades I use, NT blades, stainless. Used to run Alpha blades, but they seem like they're just really not that sharp anymore. But in all fairness, those, sometimes like you'll get one and it'll be sharp, and then it's like the next segment is dull, and you find yourself breaking off 2 or 3 segments at a time, and frustrating. So what we're going to do here, a little trick I'm sure most of you already know, so check this out. We're using a 36-inch roll because very seldom do you do a car in all 35. If we take to the top of the door, which we know our glass can't be any higher than this top molding. It just can't be. It can't go past the seal. So I like to measure from the very top to that seal. And if you look, we got like 14 and a half. Just to be safe, 14 and a half. Well, 14 and a half is less than 18. 36, which is what size that roll is, 36 divided by 2 equals 18. So we can double cut this out of the same, say 28 inches, 28 and a half. So if we take 28 and a half inches of film here, and just take a little smidge extra, just to compensate for any wonky cutting I do. Okay, take our straight edge, right? Okay, now what we want to do is try to keep our cut pretty level. I'm going to lay this on the top here, release liner side down, so anything on the top's not going to scratch our film, which this stuff's got a pretty decent hard coat on it anyway, so it shouldn't, but you know, just in case. I'm not trying to like really super mount that. We're just trying to mount it up enough to where when we try to put our next piece on, it's not trying to slide around with us. So okay, give it another little spritz. Now I'm gonna find our straight edge, right? Because I like having my straight edges at the bottom personally. We can tell by this messed up cut here. Release liner facing away from us. This is the ticket. See, I'm talking about how we're moving that and only one piece of film's moving? That's what we want. So we can get this into place, or at least close enough. Now we have this extra. Now what you could do if you had a peel board is you could go ahead and cut your patterns for these roll-ups, and then use this offcut like this for your quarters. That's what I'm looking for, quarter windows. You could do that, but for me it's just not worth it because I don't have anywhere to put them really where they're not going to get messed up, and I don't want to tint these windows first because when they're dropped down in there and you're messing around with your channels and everything, very, very easy to scratch the tint and then you're going to start all over. So again, I'm not like super trying to lock it down. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this front edge. Maybe cut the front edge there. And why I do that, I'm not going to go mess around sliding it and all that, because I don't want, when I put this film on here, I don't want it trying to stick to this film, messing me up. Go ahead and spin that. It's not really going to make much of a difference, but it helps a little bit. We got the same deal here. You know, it's a little bit taller of a window, not much. I'm gonna go with about 36 inches of film, maybe a little bit more. So that little piece I cut off there a minute ago for the quarter windows, that covered all 4 quarter windows. I didn't have to cut out any extra film off the roll, so not super upset about how I did this. I'll end up with those pieces. I can use those for the next time I get one of these, if it happens to be in 35%. Honestly, half the time I just throw stuff away, the scraps on this, because I just really don't do a whole lot of cars in 35%, so not really a big deal. You don't have to have this perfect, you just want it close. Go ahead and see how it's lifting up. This is the biggest pain in the butt about double cutting these 36-inch rolls. If you don't cut it pretty level, and you decide to just follow that contour, you're going to regret it, because when you flip this around, you're going to be short back here. So we'll do the same thing I did a minute ago. Let's go ahead and lay this down, release liner facing me, or facing the, down. Just lift that up a little bit. Just going to try to get it to where it is. On this one, I wanted to just overlap the front, or overlap the bottom just a little bit. I don't want a whole lot of extra on this front side. That way it'll leave me more extra, more room back here when I go to cut it. Same thing we did on the back window. We want to just kind of tack it down so that when we throw our second piece on there to double cut it, it's not going to go anywhere. And of course, now I'm going to cut this trash out, because that can mess you up too. Go ahead and snap a new segment. One thing to watch out for is your film sticking to this plastic trim. That happens quite a bit. If you go to roll that down and you're not paying attention, you can definitely mess yourself up that way. Now I just want to kind of drop this right about where I want it. Just kind of make it all line up. Make sure it's pretty even. It don't have to be perfect. When you're cutting these double cut, they do not have to be 1000% accurate. If you have a little bit of overhang As long as both patterns are wide enough, 99.9% of the time, you'll be okay. We don't have our door panels on, so we're not gonna have any problem tucking film down in the bottom. These have pretty wide seals for what they are, so if one ends up being a 1/16 of an inch wider than the other, as long as the shortest one is wide enough, we'll be fine. So don't overthink it. If it does slip around on you a little bit, don't spend all day trying to make it perfect. This piece here, trash. I mean, it's not really big enough to really use for anything. So, you know, now we got her tacked on there. Let's go ahead and cut her front edge. Some people start at the bottom up. I like to just start at the top. It's just how I learned. Now, slide this forward. I'm gonna go about that much, which is probably a little more than 1/4 of an inch ahead, because these seals are kind of wide in the back. So I want to just kind of push the film in, and I'm cutting at an angle rather than cutting straight down, so that way I'm not cutting the seal. Now what I'm gonna do, lift this up, bring this back. I can tell my top piece is slipping a little bit more than the bottom, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and slide that back, make sure everything's lined up pretty closely. But the biggest thing I'm looking for is I've got overhang here, I've got overhang here, I'm overhanging on the bottom. This is ready to go after I anchor it. So how do I anchor it? Take my Fusion Hybrid, and I'm just gonna pull it, get the majority of that moisture out of there. That's gonna really lock that in place, so I don't have to worry about this getting snagged or this getting snagged up here and pulling it down. Because sometimes, like, you roll the window down and it gets caught up here, it gets caught up there, it'll kind of shift weird on you, and you can mess up your pattern that way. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one, except for I'm going to pull it forward, nice, and then I'm going to pull it down just a smidge, just so it's touching this bottom seal. I'm going to go ahead, give it a little squirt right there, give it a squirt right there, so that my finger will glide on it nice and smooth. And I don't start all the way up in the top corner, I start maybe an inch down. I've found that if you try to start in this very top corner, you'll leave a big notch. It doesn't look good. Sometimes you're not wide enough that you can save it, so then you end up with a light gap. Not good. So this is trying to slip my top pattern more than my bottom, kind of like the other side was doing. But again, we're looking, and I don't even think you'll be able to tell on video. I'm like a hair. One pattern is just a hair off, but look, we're overlapped here, we're overlapped here. These back seals are pretty wide, so we don't have to worry about too much. We could get a little more overhang if we wanted. Boom, that baby's ready. I like pulling, when I'm anchoring these, I like pulling the squeegee instead of pushing it. Especially with the Fusion Hybrid, if it hits a dry spot, it wants to try to push things around, and you can end up messing yourself up. Now when I do these, I just use you know, the main control. I don't open up both doors. Right there, that's good enough. We can expose our top edge. Now what we want to also do is that right there, push that window straight down. A lot of times these windows will rock, and if you're not paying attention, that can mess you up. We'll lift up the bottom of our film here. Boom, that's it. I've been talking before on other videos about doing like a top 10 window tint tools, like my top 10s, and I'm gonna cover your basics, like, you know, things I wouldn't leave without, but I think I'm also gonna cover things like a battery box. Like, They're super handy, especially when you're dealing with Hondas, especially the new ones. I don't know what year they start, but at a certain point, if your battery gets too low, like every single light will flip out. Every light will be on. I had one at one time. It was one of the ones you have to take all apart to do the back window, the whatever generation Civic hatch it is. And so, like, you know, you got the interior lights on and all this stuff running. And it was wild because when I pulled it out, it like I turned it off, turned the car off, like I turned it around for the customer, and the trunk would latch, like the trunk would try to open. It's weird. And then of course I had all the things, like, and they don't really charge that much while they're sitting there idling. So like I let it run for 10 or 15 minutes, probably closer to 10, but it didn't go away. But I told the customer, I was like, hey, like, this is the thing, it happens. Let it, you know, drive it home, let it charge. And if it's not out by the time you get home, just let me know. And it was fine. I had one of my buddies text me. It's kind of ugly right there, but I know I'm going to be tucked in there, so it's, yeah, you're not going to see it. And, I mean, look at the tint that was on it before. But I had one of my buddies that had an Accord. It did something similar. It just had all the lights on, and I did the same thing, let it run for a few. And he said, like, as soon as he got around the corner on the main road, it was fine. All the lights went out. Kind of a weird thing, but I would definitely not tint without a battery charger or a jump box. I have both. I like that better because it just acts as a secondary battery. So you pretty much just sit it there forever and not have to worry about it. Now the cool thing, since we split our 36-inch roll the way we did, we can shrink these as we normally would with no issues. Big thing to watch out for right there is wanting to crease on me. Boop. So you just got to be kind of careful how you do that. You can pull it out of there and mess it up. I used to mess this up too. Like, I saw somebody do it and I was like, man, I bet you that would save a lot of time. And then, like, the first couple times I did it, I creased my stuff, man. I was so mad. I was like, dude. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but this pattern, one of these patterns, I'm not really going to delve into it too much, but one of these patterns is just a smidge bigger than the other. But we had plenty of overlap. Shouldn't be an issue. How we doing on battery? We're getting a little low on the juice. So let's hurry up and try to shrink these. Get a couple of them installed. And then we'll go from there. See what the other GoPro battery is looking like. You need to be careful if you do it the exact way I did it. This top layer, this right here that I'm touching is the part that the customer is going to see. This is the part that is going to face them. It's not the release liner. So if you have a tool that is, you know, wore out, whatever, you can very easily scratch this. Or if you have a scratch coat that is weak, you know, maybe a film that doesn't have a good scratch coat, you can definitely scratch that tint and then you're gonna have to redo it. So, wrong side. Just be wary of that. Some people do it the opposite way. I don't like doing that because then you've got to flip your patterns over and all that stuff, because the top one is your driver's side, but you're shrinking on the driver's side, so, you know, I don't like it. What I'm doing here is just snap shrinking. I believe that's what it's called. Basically, I'm shrinking and putting tension in the middle of the film, and I'm ignoring the sides. I stay about an inch or two away from them. Now, if you're trying to do this with a carbon or a ceramic film, with a carbon or a ceramic film, you're probably going to have a bad time. It will shrink your top layer just fine. It's not going to shrink your bottom layer very well. And then you're going to go, you're going to install your driver pattern, and you're probably going to get some fingers, and it's going to be annoying, and then your other side is going to be perfect. So I don't know if you can see, I got a little curl right here. The film's wanting to do this. Perfect. That's where we're at. These aren't super curved, so you can kind of get away without doing it, but it's going to take me 2 or 3 minutes, and it's going to ensure that we're not fighting with any fingers, and we're not sucking junk out of the bottom of the glass, which we don't have the door panels on it, so there's no seals to touch or suck trash out of, but you never know. Rather be safe than sorry. Or more realistically, I'd rather be safe than frustrated and throwing stuff. Alright, so there's that. So now I'm going to take my passenger side pattern, which is the top one here. That's why I like doing it this way. Careful you don't crease it, pinch it up, anything like that. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to stick it right there on the window. Pull that mirror out just a little bit. Take my hard card there, Bondo card, whatever you want to call it. Mount it. Same thing with the passenger side, or the back door. Boom. No pinches, no creases. All right. Now, come over here. Give it just a little spritz. Alright, before we get started installing, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, and I'll be back. We'll hammer out these, see how far we can get before the GoPro dies, and I'll probably, whenever it dies, I'll probably just finish whatever I'm doing and let it cool down and throw the other battery in, but hang on a second. Alright guys, we're at like 19% battery on this deal. So, we'll try to make this short and sweet. Scrub this top edge really well because there's some junk on there. especially right here in this corner. Take my clean blade there. Might as well go that route. Okay. Got my switch panel covered just because. So like I said, the cool thing about doing it this way, you don't have to worry about getting any of this goo all over your door panels, which, my luck, they come off pretty easy anyway. So ended up not being a big deal. However, very easily could have been. Now, I know some people are going to be like, you could just two-stage this. I'm not. Or bottom load it. I'm not. I don't know. I need to do a little more research on bottom load because I think I'm doing something wrong, but the whole point in bottom loading is supposed to be to eliminate your little creases on the side, but it seems like, for me, I get more creases on the side when I bottom load than when I two-stage. Now, I don't really worry about the little marks. When you can heat them up and push them out, I don't really worry about that. Or just let them sit for a while and push them out. I don't really consider that a crease. A crease to me is when you can't heat it up, you can't, it's too bad, it's too much. That's generally what happens to me when I bottom load. So, nothing against you guys that like to do it. It's just not my cup of tea yet. I got the ability to kind of do both. If I have to. I grasp the general concept, but enough talking about it. Let's try to get this done before the GoPro dies. So we got the air conditioner going. But I got it to where it's blowing up in the air, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Cleaned out our seals with the microfiber. Apparently someone's here because my dogs are going nuts. But I don't know who it would be. So, hopefully it's FedEx. Good here. I want to distribute my film just a little bit further to the back. Just like that. Push this back up where we want it. If I'm gonna have a cut line show, I want it to be in the front, up here by the mirror where you're not really gonna notice it. But ideally, no cut lines at all. So let's go ahead. Sounds like it might be FedEx. I don't know. So, must be. Oh. It's the yard care guys. So we got the little cut line. Watch this. Gone. Right. I've got a little spot right there. This is the most annoying thing about if your slip solution is too slippery. Gotta deal with this. Trying to move around on you. I like to take my towel, wipe down my top edge, just so nothing tries to seep back down in there. Now here, kind of tuck that in a little bit. Same thing right here. So now when we roll it up, no pressure. Come on now. Boom. Well below our seals. Bada bing, bada boom. Now the important thing is just not to squeegee it straight down very hard, because we can slide our pattern down. So I'm just going to go very gentle. I set this up assuming, my slip solution this morning, I set it up assuming that it was going to be a little bit warmer in here. It's supposed to be pretty hot, but I don't know, so far the air conditioner's, it's keeping up, kinda. I mean, it's kinda hard to keep up 100%. What the when you got a steamer and a heat gun and 50,000 lumens worth of light and me talking, you know, the whole freaking time, but it's doing pretty good today. Take and get in there a little bit deeper, push that out, make sure. Now, cool thing, we don't have any bottom seals to worry about right here. Okay, we can just go ahead and bump this down. See how it pulled that down a little bit? I don't like that. So hopefully, there we go. It's slippery enough. We can tuck that up there a little bit. Of course, it's going to be pretty solid in the back. That would be my luck. So now if we want, we can just sit here and let it dry. It doesn't matter. No cut line in the back like it had. We'll go ahead and flip this forward, or we can do it later, don't matter. You know, one little bubble right there, gone. So that's how you do it on these cars, especially if you already got your door panels off. It makes life really easy. Man, if it would just go 1 millimeter, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Still way better than it was. I guess we'll leave it alone. Got one little spot down here wants to be a pain. That's all right. Push that out. If you are really in a hurry to get this all done, what you could do is take your heat gun or blowtorch, heat up the outside of the glass, let it sit, let it cure, and then it would be 100% good to go. So that's that, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the video off, get the rest of this car done. Battery's just about dead anyway, and I don't know, might do the back glass, might do the strip, might do both. We'll see what the battery situation's looking like. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. See you on the next one.